So today we are going to be talking about mastering clipping at the loudest, most pop, but also EDM level. We're talking Zed to Skrillex, which he's not even that loud anymore, but Excision, who's like extraordinarily loud at this point, Virtual Riot, who's kind of perfectly controlled, Somber on the pop end, Sabrina Carpenter on the pop end, she's super loud. And I personally believe in loudness. I think that clipping and limiting and doing everything right, and having presence creates new sonic possibilities. Just like back in the day when they said, "Oh, you can't, you got to roll your bass off at 80 hertz or 60 hertz, so the rock music hits hard." It's like, okay, and then some motherfuckers showed up with a 808 rocking at 40 hertz, just shaking the trunk. So that's why I believe in this. To be frank with you, so basically, I kind of here's the hook of it. I just started looking around, and I just discovered something weird in Ableton. The stock saturator is beating the expensive clipping plugins that I have. So I have, K clip, I have standard clip, gold clip, all these expensive clippers. And they're fine and all, but I always run into this particular problem, right? I'm making a track. This is what I'm working on right now. Now that is loud as all hell. And there's a lot of bass still coming through. It's a little distorted. I haven't perfectly found exactly what I want for this record just yet, but it is, but we're gonna kind of go forward then backwards. So let's just put it this way. I had don't mind any of this right now. I had yeah, a little bit of that going on. I had that's just a metering plugin that's off. I tried K-Clip, didn't work. I turned the width up a lot here. Note that because that comes into play later. I put stab on there because I just wanted to kind of mess with some stuff there. I put my CLA 3A on there. These are all like loudness tricks that I stand by. I tried this new thing called Wow and Puff Puff Pass. I do actually really like these two. And then of course I tried a little bit of Goldfoss finally because I realized, yeah, I spent a whole crap load on this plugin and it does sound good. It's just sometimes I don't reach for it because of pride or something. And then the mini meters is just what you see down here, the black screen that has a spectrogram. Now everything here's what I want to talk about though. If I just play it right here, I'm gonna go to the drop. See on the input of the master how absolutely clipped that is. That's so damn loud, and that always happens as I'm making 100+ tracks and it's sounding really good. I know there's some distortion, but like I love distortion. We all love distortion. So I used to think maybe a good solution, because I already have a master chain but it's just a little too crunchy, is just to put a utility on, and I would just turn down the gain, right? Like let me put the width back to 0. So look, there is the utility that I put on this. You can see how it's clipping like hell. I'll turn it down a bit. And I'm starting to get it cleaner, but I'm losing so much volume. So I don't like that method. That's out. And just to really quickly go over it again, this is the master chain that it started out with. Just a little bit of Pro MB, like I showed you. The utility, I did put the width up. I put stab on there. I put the CLA 3A on there. I tried the Wow, didn't end up making the cut. I tried the Puff Puff Pass, didn't make the cut. And I put on Goldfoss at the very end. And then that's just metering. And so instead of turning it down, right, I went ahead and this EQ thing here, just so you know, it turns on right before the drop, I think, and like there's just a little bit of automation with levels here and there with what stab gain, which the CLA peak reduction, that might just be for the ending or something like that. I think I did like a drop off at one point, and I don't know, whatever. Point is though, and we're finally getting there. Let's just kind of like reiterate for a second. I just discovered something weird in Ableton. The stock saturator is beating my expensive clipping plugins. It's beating K-Clip in this situation I'm doing right now. You'll notice on my K-Clip that I tried here, I turned the input down 10 and then output up 10, and I tried different, things, crisp, tube, whatever. And it keeps getting a little too disgusting, let's just say. So let me turn off this group of saturators. That is the answer, and let's try the clipping. That's disgusting. K-Clip is like an expensive and a really good plugin. Don't get me wrong. I'm abusing the crap out of possibilities right now. It's a good plugin, but check this out. I go and do this thing on the set with the saturator. I put it to soft sine. You could do this with analog clip too, or whatever, but I put it on soft sine and I went to hard clip. Okay. I turned off color, drives at 0. I just want to use this hard clipper essentially. But before that, I do the thing that I was talking about in the beginning. I turned the whole thing down, -10, right? So turn this all off. Cool, but then you put this on. You see this little blue light turning on right there for the hard clipping? It's the same thing happens with soft clip. Squashes it a little bit more. For this one, I want hard clip. Now, when I throw the utility gain back up, I have this insane amount of bass, and it is doing everything I want. It's distorting a bit, but it's not like that ugly. I mean, shit. It's kind of an ugly track, right? It's ugly beauty, whatever. But like, let me turn all this back off. I mean, it's a little distorted to an ugly, like real ugly place. And the bass is there, but it's like not. Listen again. Now let's turn this series on. There's more bass, and it's just slightly less crispy. It's very, very minimal at this stage. You really need some good headphones or sub or whatever. But like the point I'm trying to make here is that instead of turning something just down going into your master chain, or instead of, putting a clipper on, this is what I used to do all the time. Just put a clipper on. I'm like, oh, well, it'll shave off the transients. Like, it depends how loud the transients are, actually. So, like, if we were to hard clip this, like, that's just, ridiculous. So we have to pull down the input of what's going into the clipper. And then once you get there, you have more possibility of playing around with your master chain. And I had one that was like working super great, and I knew I liked it, but like it's too crammed. There was too much going on, and every time I just put a utility gain right before everything and turned it down, it got so quiet before everything was being activated properly. So the clipping, in my opinion, is really, really important before the mastering chain. A lot of people will say, oh, use a clipper before the limiter. Wow, how vague. As if we're only using one limiter. We're using a series of things on the master sometimes, and that's okay if you want some color and that's just where you're rolling with it. Now, here's the really interesting part. if I was like, okay, so the clipping, cool, I'm happy with that, until I decide later that I'm not, whatever. I'm going to turn off the whole entire master chain. I just grouped everything and turned it all off, right? Now, let's just listen. Let's turn it back on. I mean, it's pretty distorted, but it's fun. I want that. But watch, I'll turn it back off. And I'll just turn this on. All I did here was turn up the width, because without it, with it, without it, and I'm actually happy with how that sounds. Yeah, it's lower in volume, but not really by too much. Let's look at the meters real quick. I mean, we're still hitting like 0 luffs, so it's like that is fine. And it has the aggression, and the width is really important to what I was actually going for with this whole entire mastering chain, which is funny because I ended up realizing I got there. Let me turn the master chain back on. Again, a little aggressive. It's exciting, sure, but funny enough, look what I did at one point. I put on a utility and threw up that width. So this whole time, really what I was after wasn't necessarily this extreme loudness, with all my, Pro MB and my stab, my CLA and my Gullfoss or whatever. And really, I mean, none of those create too much loudness. I'm just kind of pushing levels at the end of the day here. And then I tried backing off, but with a clipper and whatever. But like, again, this is what I'm like, ooh, super, super fun, exciting, overly loud. This is moderately super loud, but controlled. The energy's still there because of that width. Now this is what it sounds like with 0 on the chain. Boring, a little flat, right? You need that width in there. So I don't really know if what I'm trying to say right now is just simply that like the side information can bring a lot of energy, or, at the end of the day, I'm gonna go back and say, no, I do want that loud clipping. And we could really play around with it. Like I'm on a new version. I'm on version 83, and since 77, I've liked how it sounds. So what I did is I kind of tweaked a bunch of knobs, and I rendered out a bunch of masters from 77, 78, 79. Here, I'll show you real quick. Actually, where is it? There we go. Yeah, just finish line 77. I like that. Labeled it red green. I got finish line 78. I tried the puff thing on there. I tried the saturator shift with the clipper, the hard clipping now, puff on the master bus, I guess, turned off at this point. And then at this point, this is nothing on it except width on the utility gain. So, and now I'm on 83, so I can really just go ham and try something completely new right now, which we'll do together. I love how that bass shaper sounds. Let's see if we can push the level though and get it as loud as with the soft sign. Now let's turn this back to soft sine. I'm not really excited about that. I like the bass shaper, but it's just not loud enough, so let's turn it up after. Let's play with the threshold too. I don't know what that'll do. Now let's turn that off and go back over to the soft sine. Ridiculous. Now let's turn this back on. I'm still hearing a little too much clipping, I guess, so I'm going to take it down to the -50. Let's try turning up the input a little. Back down to 10. Now let's go back and listen to a few of these, right? So this is what we started with. 77. And I was happy with that, ready to release it, except it just seems a little too crunchy. Loudness was there. I think now we fixed that. Yeah, I mean, that sounds a little better to me. Check out the puff on the master. Again, still a little crunchy. 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 That sounds good. I like that one. We got somewhere with that. That is, the puff is off. The hard clipping staging thing is on the master bus. That's it. I like that one. It sounds a little old school, a little boxy. And then this is no utility, nothing but the width utility. Nothing on the master with utility has its own really good quality, in my opinion. The utility is the width that I turned up. It has a little bit more bass. It's a little less like aggressively, characteristically, energetically exciting as with the hard clipping staging going on. But it's still cool. But I think this is right in between the two. Yeah, that is, like, in my opinion, right in between what I wanted out of both of these. A little, dare I say, Porter Robinson-y back in the Unison EP era. And then this one, a little too modern Skrillex-y, dare I say, in my opinion, where it's just not that loud, but it's got a lot of character in the low end. And then this one, honestly just makes me want to listen to it more. It's got all that energy that I want out of that kind of like slamming energy bigness, and then it still has that low end. I want to call it swag, but flow. It has that push and pull. It has that kind of more, dare I say, even FET compression. Just more like or opto. What am I thinking with that? I know what I'm thinking, but how do I make sure you guys all know what I'm thinking when you put on or I'm sorry, RMS mode rather than peak mode of a compressor? I think opto is right, slow opto or FET or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. I know when I'm doing that kind of compression for like indie rock and guitars and drums and stuff. I just pull out the plugins until I'm happy, or play with the hardware units. But in this, it's kind of hard to explain because this is all very hard clipped digital output shit. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce this because I think this is pretty cool. This is how I go inch by inch though. It's like, let's just try really quickly something else like a hard curve. See, that's ridiculous. Let's do medium. Crazy. I like digital clip with the gain stage we have set up. Let's try that against the bass shaper. Ooh, the digital clip might be even better. And we really could do the hard curve, right? But we just got to turn down the input. Kind of sucking in and out though in a way that I'm not stoked about. So let's go back to the bass shaper. We're gonna bounce out a version with the bass shaper, and then we might just do one with the digital clip. Maybe with a dB down. Notice as I'm going through these different, shapers, and I could even be messing around with even more like hard curve, right? We know we got to turn that down, but let's also take it off hard clip and soft clip now. Brings out a lot of interesting stuff. So scratch that. I'm actually going to bounce this one, then I'm going to go back to the -10 here, and then go to the bass shaper, and then go back from soft clip to hard clip. But that's after I bounce this one out. Moral of the story is, though, is as you're tweaking stuff, don't be afraid to tweak the front end of the amount of amplitude going into the thing, especially when dealing with distortions and saturators and overdrives and pedals and compressors and anything dynamics related. So let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and label this one as what it is, which is hard clip. Or no, it's hard curve with soft clip. I think that's right. Anyways, see what we could rant about while this is happening. I think that means what I'll have to do is I'll have to go back to my beautiful EP that I'm trying to upload of this thing, delete it, and then start over, which is fine. I'll just do that. And what I might even do, I've been toying with this idea, is I feel like I almost want to also, I want to release this song and pretty much all of my singles from here on out with multiple mix versions and master versions. I've been kind of doing it. You can go to a few of my records and I usually have a mix A and a mix B. At this point though, I feel like I just want to release like 7 different versions of these, like my favorite 7. You know, one of them a little more distorted and clipped that made me happy when I'm listening on some headphones and the car, then like some that are cleaner that make me happier when I'm listening on an iPhone or even in the car on headphones, and just try to get a few different ones going. And I'm thinking there might be a few cool things that happen with that. One is maybe statistically there's more room for people to find it or explore it. Maybe they will want to dive into the song more times than just once to actually hear the differences of these mixes and masters. I know that if, say, I like Taylor Swift, man. I like Taylor Swift. I like Skrillex. I like everybody. So, like, if, well, we all know if Skrillex came out with multiple mixes of, like, any song, people would go, like, oh my God, that's so cool. Let's study the crap out of them. But I bet Taylor Swift fans would like that too. And she kind of already has by re-recording all of her music and putting out Taylor's version. So I'm not the absolute craziest for this. But another thing that it's going to help with, I think, is actually being able to just press play from anywhere and anyone's device on different sound systems and different atmospheres. So I notice sometimes I drop the version A and version B and I listen to it in somebody's car and I'm like, oh man, version B sounds so much better in here. Or version A sounds better at the club or whatever. Or after a while, I'll even kind of just go back and I'd say, I'm always going to mix A. Like that's the one. That was the right one. And whether that was first or the last one, sometimes I can remember, sometimes I don't. Maybe I'll label it better. The point is like after that kind of testing in all those different areas and not just like trying to mix it and get it right and testing it and listening and being like, oh, I got to make a final decision. After all of that natural listening environment stuff, I can really choose, oh, this one's mix A or whatever. So anyways, maybe it's just a different perception thing and it helps because I do so much all by myself. I don't really have a team with this style of music. When I do pop music, I gotta send it to the boss that's in charge with production, whether it's like Darkchild or Ryan Tedder or somebody like that. They have their ears. They'll tell you what they want or whatever. The mixing guy has his ears, tells the A&R, the actual artist. Like everybody like says they want this, and this tweaked to a point where I do think that a great mix and master formulates. Is it ever really just one person? I don't know, man. No, not in those situations, but like in computer music and stuff like this, sometimes it really is just one person. And it takes a lot of work to get there. And I'm not even there because even the best of the best in this world still does all of that and collaborates. I'm just quite a loner. And you get to a certain point, I'm going to toot my horn here, but you get so good that you kind of phase yourself out of possibilities of collaborating with people because not many people, like the majority of people aren't nearly as good as you and on your level. But now you're so good that you want to only collab with the best of the best, like, you know, and those people usually are either extremely hard to find, like me, or they're so popular and playing the big festivals that you can't collab with them at my level. So anywho, we got through that rant. Let's go ahead and hit save here. And then we'll go from version 83 to version 84. Okay. Let's see if I can remember this correctly. I was going to go -10, right? I was going to take this to bass shaper, and then we're going to go hard clip this time. There it is. Sounds a little different, but just double check. Hard clip. Yep, that's the one. So we'll call this one. Oh, what was it? It was hard curve. Cool. So this is bass shaper hard clipped. So let's write that down. Bass shaper hard clipped. Boom. So what else could we rant about this time? Where's my water? What was somebody talking about recently? I don't want to talk about that. Stay on topic here. We'll talk mastering and stuff. What I'm gonna do next is, once this is done, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna upload all these to SoundCloud and an album playlist or whatever that's private, and I can go directly to the drop of all these songs and kind of just really label in the comments which ones I like. Then maybe switch headphones to do that too, and just on my journey as I travel and do whatever I'm doing, I'll listen to these when and where I want. Oh, another part of what I was saying earlier. Yeah, I on my device can log into my SoundCloud, which and I can play the songs on different systems as I'm traveling or whatever, and when I want at the gym or whatever. But when it's actually released on Spotify and stuff, even if I don't have my phone with me or somebody else is controlling the music on their phone, it's really easy for me to be like, oh, go to this song, my album, and then go to version, hard curve, bass curve, 10 dB, blah, blah, blah. Rather than being like, oh, can I attach my Bluetooth phone to the speaker system just to play one thing? Like, no, don't stop the party for that. You want to keep the music going. You want to just cue it up. So when you actually release this stuff, it gives you such a perspective in the moment of like what your music sounds like as a consumer, rather than a maker, rather than a producer, an artist, and creator. And that's a beautiful thing, in my opinion, is when you could just sit back and listen to the music and not dive. It's fun making it, but it's even more fun for me to listen to it. So yeah, that's another reason why I want to release an album full of each single of different mixes, and maybe even throw in some commentary in there at this point, like whatever. The one thing I'm slightly curious about, though it hasn't happened yet, so I'm lucky so far, knock on wood, but I am a little worried that DistroKid. I like to go through DistroKid. I don't like asking too many questions with labels and blah blah blah. But for this stuff that I'm self-releasing, just go through DistroKid or whatever. Whatever's easiest to take something up and down. I would hope that they don't start flagging like, hey, this is the same song just released like 10 times on an album, because I don't think you can do that. If I just put the same exact master like 10 times on an album, I think like I don't think I think that it would get flagged and they'd be like, this is the same song a million times, like. But hopefully I'm making enough differences in these masters and mixes that read in the waveforms or whatever algorithm they use to check that. Maybe they don't, but I mean, the point is that I think that that's pretty valid, to be honest. Like, I would literally listen to a whole album of Manny Marroquin mixing whatever, like Maroon 5 Wait, I don't know, whatever he's done recently that I like. You know, I'd gladly listen to 10 different mixes of The Middle by Zed and Gray. You know, another thing to think about too is like Fleetwood Mac, man. You go to the deluxe album of Dreams and Rumors, I'm sorry, Rumors. You can listen to Dreams amongst other songs on there in different stages of its completion. They have the demo, they have the final, they have the remastered, and then I think they even have like a live 77 or something like that. Um, I'll even show you. I won't play it so that this whole thing doesn't get flagged, but Fleetwood Mac. Watch. Super deluxe version. Disc 1, Dreams, 2004 remaster. Disc 2, Dreams, live in 1977. Disc 3, Dreams, take 2. Disc 4, Dreams, sessions, roughs, and outtakes. I've listened to all of those, and I'd love to listen even more. So anyways, I hope that is something that ends up kind of happening more and more. Kind of like how you have all these super in-depth videos in general, right? Like, and people are like me are sitting around watching Virtual Riot produce for like hours and hours on end. Started a while ago with Dead Mouse doing streams and stuff, and like, but like, who has hours and hours and hours to like basically just watch somebody work when you can just listen to an album full of like, this is kind of like where it started, this is where it was in the middle and towards the end, and this is what we thought was the final product, or just leave it to the public to decide which one's the best. Anyways, let's get back on to the work since we're done with that portion of the evening. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take version 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, and 84. And then I'm going to put them all into one playlist. I'm going to put the artwork that I'm thinking for this record. You can't see this, but it's fine. Make it private. And I'm going to wait for these to upload, and then I'll show the screen, and we'll go through them one by one and basically rate them right now. But more importantly, we will rate them over time. And then hopefully I'll be as excited as I am about this song when it's time to actually release it, whenever that may be. And maybe I'll pick 3 or 4, I think 7 different mixes at this point, where it's really just like minor feels and changes of sonics is a bit aggressive. I can see like 2 or 3 mix versions that are slightly different. I can obviously see some remixes going on that album, and I can see some commentary going on the album, maybe like a soundbite of me talking right now. I could even see as far as like, here are the drums. Here's the drum tracking for this song. Here's all the basses. Here's all the music. Here's the vocal. Having all those stems packaged into one album. I don't know. I just want to reimagine an album. And yes, I'm not trying to take I'm not trying to take anything away from like a great album that has, 10 songs on it or whatever that are all different songs and unique and tell a story, and there are final masters that are chosen for that. Yes, great. Obviously, I'm going to still make those, be a part of those, encourage people to make those. But what about just this different idea of an album? You have mixtapes, right? I don't know if you guys know what a mixtape is, but it's basically, how do I explain this? It's like sample beats with like illegal beats and instrumentals with rappers that rap over them. And since it's illegal copyrighted work, they're mixtapes that get passed around or sold out of a trunk back in like the 80s and 90s and stuff. Mixtape. all sorts of different songs, different rappers, compilation albums. You know, there's all sorts of albums, but I haven't seen personally an album dedicated to the story of the song, start to finish, including everything from commentary to stems to different alternate mix and master versions, maybe even including a couple remixes. But again, staying all focused on that one song. Well, we're gonna name this knock knock 101 whatever. All right, let's hop in here. Let's see what's up. So I do think I'm going to just go to the main page. It seems to be a little easier to read the tracks. For what I'm going to show you guys right now. All right, because I can just click the waveform. So this is the... Let's see if it all came in. 77. So yeah, this is where we started. And I was like, oh yeah, it's really good, just a little too aggressive. I can tell I like how clean that is with the bass. Let's try from here. What happened to 78? Is 78 not in here? Here it is. So yeah, really 77 through like 80 and 81 is really aggressive, loud, clipping, and the bass is kind of getting lost. Then you have 82, which has no master of anything, and you only have the width turned up on the utility. A little weak. I listened to it just now. It's I could tell that's the one. It's super weak. But then these last two, the 83 and 84, they sound clean. I mean, they're loud, they're aggressive, they have energy, they have more bass. And they're cleaner. And that last one, the hard curve 83, is I think my favorite, so I'm gonna write down favorite, at least with the Sennheiser 480s or whatever these are. Whatever, I don't know what they are, but which is funny because I did call out the hard curve one with the soft clipping. 83 was the one that I really liked, and then we just backtracked to go to 84 to the bass shaper that I liked also. I think it's safe to say, hopefully, that the 83 beats the 77. So cool. Like, that's where I'm happy with this. But again, I go and release it, and then later I'm like, I could have used a little bit more crisp. It could have used this, could have used that, whatever. And then I'm bummed, and I forget, and it's all the way back at my home on my computer. I want it on an album. Also, I might just be in a really dope studio with huge mains, like Paramount or East West, or at a club or at a festival, and I know that the speakers there can handle the most crazy version, and I might at that point want to hype it on up and put on the more distorted version. Rather than that one. Like, I feel personally like 83 is a great Spotify record, you know? And I think 84 is a great festival speaker mix. And then I have to listen to all this on an iPhone and see, maybe for some reason 80 is really good on the iPhone. Well, maybe I'll use that one for social media clips and stuff. Anyways, I don't know. I'm trying to just like expand. And just finally release some of these songs, because I can't be sitting around forever waiting for the perfect mix, because in all honesty, I really love 83 right now, but it's like in 2 or 3 months from now, or hell, a year from now, I can open this back up and be all like, ooh, let me try this new plugin I just bought on the master, or, I'd probably put on the master because like I'm almost done with the song, right? And oh my god, it makes it just a little inch better, 0.2% better. So you can just go around in circles and circles. And quite frankly, that happens a lot. I'll put something out. A lot of people will put something out and then later on realize it could be better. And that's where I do think that the major label system and these big, huge 1% artists and stuff like that, like, they're blessed to have a huge team of such talented people and budget to like make sure that when they do put something out, all the boxes have been checked, every possibility has been tried. The best of the best did the vocals, the best of the best did the mix, the best of the best did the drums, did the marketing, blah blah. But hey, especially in underground dance music and stuff like this, that sometimes shapes and paves the way of the pop music, it's up to all of us to do it by ourselves sometimes. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk about.